You are listening to King's Court Podcast.
Not sure. I should probably get this thing on the road. So, hello people. It's me. I have hijacked the podcast studio to talk with Warlock today.
Hi, peeps. Warlock here.
Yeah, we thought to bring... Brandon was busy this week, so we decided that we were going to make this episode talking about the recent banlist changes. We didn't want Brandon's input on those.
I mean, you had Tuno here recently, so it was only fair to have a different
true.
Italian player and a different ban list altogether.
Yeah, part of the family.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we just need to Koga anymore to come on, and we have captured the whole set, you know.
True.
You want to tell a bit about yourself? Like, how did you actually start playing the game? And
I think if people who listen to the episode with Tuno will know a little bit of the story, but I started playing a bit of Kitchen Table Netrunner when the first core released, but neither me nor my two cousins really looked into the game past that for a while. I looked at NetRunDB a little bit here and there to see like the new cards and everything. And then around 2017, I think, Koga started joining the local meetup a little bit more, and he ended up bringing me in for playing about that time.
Oh, yeah?
And I've been hooked since then. I've been playing competitively very badly until like a couple of years ago, and then finally got a little bit better to like compete at a higher level and started traveling, which was honestly the best part of everything here.
Yeah, traveling into tournaments is so sick.
Yeah.
And then you decided to join NSG. You do the ban list for Eternal, right?
Yeah, so I started playing Eternal, I want to say around like 2020. Like my first real experience was a side event at Worlds 2020, which was online. So a little bit easier to join and everything. And since then I've been hooked. Like I really like the wider card pool. I really like all the interactions between new and old cards. That's something that always drives me towards the format. And since Anarcho Mushroom stopped handling the Eternal ban list a few years ago, we had a bit of a hole, and then I joined NSG to fill it. And I've been doing it for a few months now.
Yeah, there was like a long stretch where there were like a 0 ban list changes or something, right?
Yeah.
Or like almost a year, I think.
Yes, we had a year where the last change was banning the Devas, which I figured I might have been somewhat... and so I took it upon me to just make a new one so that we didn't end up on that one.
Yeah, luckily you haven't broken anything since.
Yeah, I know.
And then we got to this point where we're getting new ban list change. I think we might go through point and then talk about why each of these cards kind of got banned. So, first one, Helion beta test going from 0 to 2.
Yeah, that's a big one. Also, I want to mention Thorin and OF1515 who joined the team, helping me out with the Eternal ban list. Thorin was the big proponent of pointing Helion beta test first. We all knew we wanted to tackle CI because after the last changes, CI was still a little bit too strong. The big deal build was definitely a little bit too powerful. And Helion beta test just feels like the right card to put 2 points on and make it a very significant tax for CI. People who played the card in the past we know the card as like a bit of a mediocre card maybe. But when thanks to YDL, you have so many credits that you can just spend easily 15-20 credits on trashing 2 cards you want, and that just gets rid of a lot of tech.
Yeah, I remember.
And that makes it CI really hard to face off.
Yeah, we were playing in the shipment to Eternal tournament, and like you popped a Helion beta test for like 25 credits or something. Yeah, just to make sure that my third 0 and like Clan Vengeance didn't stick on the table, and that was like game winning by itself.
Yeah, I mean it was expensive, especially because the deck really needs a lot. Like it is the CI build that needs the most money to win. But I did something similar against Bizeton earlier in the tournament where he was playing Hive Mind Max, and I have to get through all the clone chips and simul chips. And so I baited him with a bunch of like powerful installable cards. Like I had a clone suffrage movement at some point that kept bringing me YDL over and over. And then I went, okay, like the turn he trashed it, I instantly blew up 2 of his chips. Tutored the card back in my hand and blew 2 more.
Oh no.
And even if I had to pay like 15, 20 credits, I just got rid of
it's
every
still
tech on the
worth,
board.
yeah, because you actually...
Yeah.
You think that actually hurts normal CIs? Like, not like CI 7 and what's the other one? It's like the brain rewiring CIs.
So I think it hurts them less. We came to the conclusion that Helium Beta Test would probably see play in all CIs if people started pushing those lists as well. HBT has a problem that you also need like installable cards that runner wants to get rid of, because it has a very niche trigger ability where you can't play it unless the runner trash something. It's even stricter than Oppo. And so that starts to become a little bit taxing on slots. So while the big deal list like kind of had a lot of slots to play with, because your win condition is like double big deal and then the 6 agenda, so you have a lot of slots to play with. The other ones have a little bit of a slots problem, and they might have a harder time fitting it in. But I think if we push the meta further and like people started actually pushing CI and testing a lot, we would end up seeing Helium Beta Test in a lot of CIs. I know that it's at 2 points is a lot more of a consideration.
Yeah, and the second card on the list definitely also banned because of the same list, which I think Toron started playing that in the Eternal League.
Toron definitely came up with it. Yes.
Yeah. Where the whole idea is basically just to big deal out 2 agendas in the game and win by that.
Yeah. I mean, big deal is really good. We wanted a third point on that CI in particular. We didn't want to hurt a lot of other CIs. We considered putting CI at 4, just as a blanket solution. We landed on big deal as like a mid ground play. But this one of the most discussed points. I think we thought about different cards, and big deal ended up the one we liked the most on average.
Yeah, I feel like big deal is probably like, I really like this choice also, where like the big deal version was, I think, the issue, because all of the other ones kind of have the slot things that they have to deal with.
Yeah.
That the big deal just doesn't.
Yeah, 100%. Also, like big deal has the chance of like breaking in the future. It's one of those cards that breaks one of the like a core pillar of the game, being able to like score 5 threes from hand without anything other than like a lot of credits. And so when you want, I think my philosophy behind changing points here is that if you're uncertain of something, if you're uncertain between 2 cards, you should usually put the cards that most breaks the rule of the game. And big deal is like easily one of those cards.
Yeah, for sure. For advancement for 1 card is definitely like one of the rule breakers. It shows on the cost, but if the cost is basically meaningless at some point with enough credits, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not every corp would be able to play it. It has a trash cost, it's terminal, like it has a lot of restrictions, but it still does something that you can't find in any other card in the game.
Yeah, it's also 5 influence, so you really cannot import it. And next on the list, one of the new cards from the Elevation set, Nebula Tenet Management, going from 0 to 1.
I mean, I think this speaks for itself. If you've been playing it standard, you notice the fact that Nebula is a really good ID, and Eternal just has a lot more potential for it. Between the whole subliminal messaging, that's just like a repeatable petty cache, making you able to like trigger the ID so often, but also like extremely powerful kill lines. Because once you're flipped, you can go install breaking news, a shipment from Tenin to double advance it and gain a click back, and then gives you enough tags to boom the opponent right away.
Yeah, basically on turn 2.
So like the scoring build was really good, the kill build was really good, and the fact that you can play a hybrid of the two and just like try and kill, and if you get enough tech on the board where you can't kill anymore, switch out to a scoring line because you have Astroscript, which is like really, really good at scoring.
Yeah, sure.
You can fast advance the first one. The ID was just doing a lot of things. And I think 1 point is not going to change a lot of builds. I think most builds were like kind of light on point.
Yeah.
But maybe you can't just spend a lot of a lot of points on other stuff and make the list really good.
I think I built like a Nebula list, and it literally like was at 5 points or something beforehand. And like I don't think normal lists for Nebula like use all the points yet, but I think it's definitely fair that the effect is on the point list in general.
You could build maybe some Nebula lists that use all 7 points. You might be able to fit in like Sensi and put them on the board and bait your opponent trashing them so you can trigger HHN, things like that.
Sure.
So you had ways, I think, to fill up all 7 points and make the list really, really tough. Also, one thing of these low point IDs is that they can play scarcity, and Nebula is just amazing at playing scarcity because you get the flip, you get to remove employee, which is like the worst possible card you can play against. So really good card.
You also like E-Strike is pretty nasty against the ID. There for sure was games where like I just Katorga breaked out.
Yeah, exactly.
Multiple times, kept A-Strike on the table, and your opponent just cannot do anything. Speaking about that, Katorga breakout also going from 1 to 0, 0 to 1. I feel like that's
the same as
I feel like this is the change I'm like most surprised by, because Katorga breakout kind of was not an issue card. I feel like, though it definitely created these kind of like problematic situations.
Yeah, the thing is, it compares to Deja Vu in a way where the two do a very similar thing. And while you definitely want Deja Vu for like Hive Mind build or like very heavy virus decks, the base action of like paying 2 to get back a card from the heap was good enough. And like we wanted to discourage the pattern that was developing of Anarchs just recurring currents over and over and over.
Yeah, that gameplay pattern for sure is kind of cringe, where you just like perma play the current on table, and like if your opponent
they had the best
current
anything. Like Rumor Mill is a little less common now because paying 4 points is really tough. But looping, recurring like Employee Strike is really good. Recurring Hacktivist is really good.
Yeah.
So
both of those
for sure are issues. We put Katorga on the same level of cost as Deja Vu, and we'll see. I think people will probably flock to Deja Vu now because you don't have to run. But sometimes it's nice to run. Like you get the credit back from Desperado and stuff, so there is a trade-off that you can decide to play one.
I don't feel like this is a change that like kind of kills Katorga breakout, but that's fair at this point. I feel like maybe if there's like an APOC list that would want this, or like a deep dive, if you somehow play like a deep dive Anarch. That could be it.
Yeah, that could be something, definitely. I mean, Omar can't afford to play all 3 deep dive, but that could be a turbo deep dive Anarch list that works.
Yeah, sure. Then next change, if we switch back on going from top to bottom. Yeah, Sting going from 1 to 0. You for really want Grinder decks to come back.
I mean, the card was not seeing play. We figured that PU wouldn't be like PU doesn't see a lot of play. PU is heavily pointed, so that's mostly the reason. But we didn't think that PU would show up more than it does now, even if it could play Stings. And so we kind of decided to freeze Stings and see if that generates some new archetypes. Is that opens up PU a little bit more if people start playing like Shell Game P or Fat P or something.
That's nasty.
Interesting. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, for sure.
That sounds like a powerful thing.
I for real was like looking at the PU lists and like looking at them and thinking, do I even want Sting here? It's just one pointer that gets stolen and you lose the game because they see 2 obos as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think PU is happier to play House of Knives because you kind of fast advance it when the runner can't run using Shipper Fontaine, and then it's 3 damage, and like Sting does all the damage at once, so you only trigger the ID once. So it's definitely there to like be a deterrent for PU, but we figured it wasn't necessary to have 1 point.
Yeah, definitely interested to see if there's like asset list that could start playing it for sure. Maybe like PE assets if you play like FAT and everything, or RP. That could be kind of sick.
RP could play it. I think PE is a little too fair. As much as calling PE sounds wrong, but when you have to fight against IG, MT, and RP as like possible asset list, you can see how PE doesn't do enough unfair stuff. I think.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think asset lists kind of depend on the ID protecting the assets more.
Yes.
Where every runner has like way too much money to actually be able to deal with anything.
Yeah, it's not like in standard where you can kind of live off the fact that high trash cost is enough, because when you have to compete with like crowdfunding wizard with Desperado, the trash cost doesn't matter.
Yeah, sure. No shot, it doesn't.
Speaking of like stuff that lost points, I kind of want to go on. Like, I'd like to talk on Tech Trader, because I think Tech Trader kind of has the same feel as Stings. We didn't like. I mean, Geist doesn't see a lot of play. I think some people tried Tech Trader in like Haley builds that kind of go a similar route as Geist. We tested a few lists because this was one of the ones that we weren't as confident going in, but we couldn't find anything that broke, and so we figured this was another one of those things where we want people to experience it, test it, and see, try to break it because it would be fun. Geist is one of those IDs that people talk about as something that they really liked playing when it was in standard. And I think Tech Trader was way overpointed at the start because Geist was really good in standard at the time.
Yep.
And now I think the meta game just has caught up to him, and Tech Trader does not scale and doesn't generate enough value to be worth 1 point.
Yeah, comparatively to all the other choices. It's also a thing that gets played in one ID. It's not like if you put Aaron Maroon to 0 points, everybody plays 1, and then it's like cringe. And like every single 24/7 deck, like they can't kill you anymore after you play Aaron Maroon for 0 points. Tech Trader is like just a Geist card, and Geist is kind of sick. I played some Geist Eternal, and it's really cool.
Yeah, the point list has a few cards that like that they have points because the card would be way too common otherwise. I mean, Blue Moose is 1 point because it would be everywhere. I think crowdfunding is 2 because at 1 you would see it a little too often. That's my take on the card at least.
I think I was going to come to crowdfunding at some point. We can talk about that one later after we go through everything.
All right. I'll hold on to it. And I know crowdfunding is like a very debated card on the list.
We can probably then get the other one that actually loses points. World 3 losing points is interesting for everybody who saw the Eternal Super League.
I mean, it's getting balanced by the fact that we had to give 1 more point to Cabaneza, and we didn't feel like the World 3 Woo needed extra like debuffs. World 3 is one of those cards that like Big Deal breaks the game in some way, like does something that nothing else does. But it is one of those build arounds where you need a lot of you need to really go into supporting it and making sure it works. And so we'll see if like other shapers appear that work with World 3. That would be nice. That would be a breath of fresh air because it's a really interesting deck. I think it has a very interesting play patterns. I loved it when it was in standard. So
something like World 3 Arizona that we saw for a while.
Yeah.
Could be
exactly, or even Haley or something.
Oh, World 3 Haley where you get double triggers. Ooh.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you could do. And the World 3 Woo that did very well at ESL and got very high points last update still stays on the same point where you can't play Hyperdriver and
Temujin and everything.
Yeah, right now you have to it's 3 points for Cabaneza, 3 for Hyperdriver or Temujin, depending on what you want. And then you have 1 free point that either goes into Film Critic or I've seen people play Blue Moose in that slot, which makes sense.
Something Cabaneza Woo also, of course, getting pointed by the kind of broken interaction between Ritual and Hyperdriver.
I'll be fair. I don't know if we fixed it No, that's not what I meant. I don't think I don't know if the deck is completely dead. Is what I want to say. Because I think you end up not playing DDoS and you just play 6 points, and you forgo the DDoS and just work with Carboneza and Hyperdriver, and maybe you put in a film critic at this point. DDoS helped, but it wasn't strictly necessary. So maybe you don't maybe the deck still survives. I think the other thing is that after I showed it at the showdown, not showdown, the shipment from and I think OF was playing something similar, and I think Toron was playing a similar build as well. People are ready for it. Like when you see a small Carboneza, especially when you see a small Carboneza that goes first 3 clicks, find all my coalescences, make money, do nothing. You know what's going on now, and people will be much readier to fight it. Like 3 Police R&D, find your tech, make sure the APOC doesn't go through or play MT, and just win that way.
I've loved playing Mate in that tournament. Although I did lose to 15-15, but they just kind of got lucky on the future perfect roll, so.
I mean, I think they were playing a different build where they don't play encore, they just go for dig or maybe dives.
Yeah, I think it was just dives, and then the plus notoriety that's the +1 point, right?
That makes sense. Yeah, I wasn't on notoriety, and notoriety makes a lot of sense if you just need the extra point so you don't die from finding 3 oboes or something like that. Yeah, it was
literally just like dive 3 times, double dive 3 times, and just access enough cards.
Yeah, but if at least the build now doesn't play DDoS, and honestly, like Carboneza is just really good. When Coalescence got printed, they forgot to put the word virus on it. And now you just can click for 3 credits 3 times a game.
Yeah, whenever. And also get your program on table to do like bullshit with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Cabo is just really efficient. Like the thing is, I don't like Cabo. I don't like Carboneza when you play normally. Like when it wasn't standard, people weren't doing combo stuff. They were doing like regular things with value programs and stuff, and that Carboneza I personally don't love it. It's not my style of shaper. But when it comes to like being hyper efficient combo finder, that's when I'm kind of driven to it, and that's turns out that's a broken part of Carboneza, where you can just find the exact piece you need and win the game with it.
Yeah, and that's why it gets pointed every update now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect it to go higher than, but never say never.
Yeah, like next we probably point something else from the deck, like point not Hyperdriver, point like Ritual or something like that.
That would be really nice. Like pointing Ritual would be really funny. I love when the Eternal Point list comes out, like the updates come out, and people question everything. Like people that don't play the format question everything because it looks so bonkers.
Putting Hellion Beta Test as first thing on the list was definitely a choice there.
Yeah, that's not. You're not wrong with it, but it was really funny.
Yeah, everybody opens up the list. Hellion Beta Test. Huh?
Yeah, I've seen people challenge each other to recall the text on the card. So
choices we have been going through on orderly. Transfer of Wealth, I think is last one.
Exactly. Yeah. That's almost self-explanatory, honestly. I mean, part of me didn't mind having Siphon at 3 and Siphon for 3 credits at 0. That's basically it. I think the Liza deck that was playing all 9 Siphons was really good. And I think it was really, really hard pressed for points. Where now, if you look at the document that Toron posted, where he has a guide on some of the main decks in the format, he built a Liza that doesn't play Omakua because it needs to find points for the new transfer. And that's a really hard choice because Omakua was like the way you broke ice in that deck usually, because you lock the corp out of ice and then you don't have to face them, and Omakua just grows big, and when they finally get some money, you have a really good breaker. Yeah, and now you have to choose. But I think we're very happy about like the fact that you can play Duve, that's free. You can play Transfer, that's 1, and you can play Siphon, that's really good, but that's 3 points. And you can kind of mix and match. So you can play 6 of them. You can play 6 of them for 1 point. You can play 6 of them for points. You can play 6 of them for 4 points if you really want like the powerful ones and don't care about doof. And I think like it will open up a lot of deck building in like Red Crim, where you can now shift your siphons down to transfers of wealth and play and have 2 more points for something else. So 2 more points for crowdfunding, 2 more points for like Omakua and Iromaron if we're not on it. Like it has a lot of potential and like way you build your deck if you're playing Criminal, and I think that's really fun.
Yeah, for sure. I do like it. Also, the like 9 siphon Liza was kind of busted.
Yes, 100%.
I was playing...
I got locked.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, I got locked out of a games very early against a few people who played against me. I instantly figured out, okay, this cannot stay as is. But you were saying?
I definitely got like a good matchup on it by playing Mati, which is like interesting that Mati kind of like counters all the good decks that appear on Eternal for some reason.
He just does a really good thing. It's like it is the one corp that loves to play ice, and is really good at it. I think we have not 2 now. Like I mean, I think Nebula is the other corp that really likes ice. But the difference is that Nebula like wants to tax you out of ice, while with ice, while MT just wants to kill you or make sure you don't make a successful run.
Yeah, it's like a really interesting dynamic to me.
Yes,
where Eternal decks are really unfair. So sometimes, and do like extremely unfair, or are built to do extremely unfair things to decks that are built to do unfair things. So like you can siphon 9 times on like the CIs that don't like want to ice early, but then you play against like a deck that is made to be the best fair deck possible, like Mati. Fair in big quotation marks, of course.
I was about to say.
But like it plays ice, it plays like the typical Netrunner experience, like just Glacier.
Yeah, that's true. Like it does feel a lot more like a Netrunner game, except you don't get to force the corp to like res ice they don't want or install ice they don't want and then poke them in their weak spots. But I agree that it is like its course agendas behind ice with defensive upgrades. And the defensive upgrades are really stupid because it triggers no. It triggers Managrams twice. It triggers Caprice twice. Like
it's so sick.
Yeah.
It's also, if you start playing border control like I've been testing out, you get to like do all that twice, and then you get to pop the border control also.
That's so nasty.
Yeah, it's so silly. But like even Mati loses to like some fair decks. Like if you play like something like Turbine or like World Revu, where like you just play reg and set up a Turbine rig, it's really tough for the Mati.
Yeah, like I would be scared if I faced off against like an Haley that's playing Tech Trader and stuff, because I think there are builds to just put down good breakers, levy once or twice so they can just go through their deck multiple times, make good money, put down good breakers and fight your ice.
Yeah, and then you're like in a tough position where then it turns into this dynamic where like maybe the other decks can't really fight like the bullshit like scores 2 times in the CI deck, but
yeah,
I think
or like the Ob killing you on turn 3 because you didn't check enough servers.
Also, we didn't get any Ob points this time, which is like kind of cool, or maybe the deck is finally fair.
Yeah, no, I really like where Ob is right now. I think it's really fun because the canonical Ob list that kills you with Mad into HPT now has to pay 7 points between the ID, Mad, and Estelle Moon. Yeah. So you don't have any point for spins, for Gaslight, for any trick. And I think we've seen 2 players play Ob at the shipment, and they both solved the problem of not having recursion differently. I think one of them brought sprints while the other was playing preemptive action.
Yeah.
And I really like it because it finally put Ob in a place where the ID can still kill you on turn 2 or turn 3 if they're drawing really well, but it's very all in. Like if you get disrupted too much, you don't have the tools to like shuffle the deck back, hide agendas, and then find the kill line later on, and the deck is definitely not scoring.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Also, a couple of points I want to put touch on is the notable absences we saw. So YDL still not getting a point even though CI is posted.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, pointing YDL felt like pointing CI. Because we couldn't find any reason for CI not to play YDL, even if you give YDL a point. And we also like the fact that YDL shows up in some NBN lists, and it's like fair.
Yeah.
So we decided to point different CI cards, make sure CI is on a fair level, but still gets to play like the busted YDL in its ID. Without hurting NBNs, because we would have rather pointed CI instead of YDL, I think, and we didn't feel like hurting different decks.
Yeah, for sure. The other option listed on the article, employee strike, I feel like that's also the similar point where it's actually pointed by pointing out Katorga breakout.
Yeah, that's true. I personally really like employee strike. I think employee strike is one of the more fun currents. Because it hurts disproportionately different corps. Like if a corp is as a like good ID but not game breaking, you don't love to see employee strike, but you can play through it. But instead, if you're relying really heavily on your ID, like OP, like CI, like MT, sometimes employees are like really good. So the difference between this and like rumor mill, which kind of blanketed worked on everything, is that employee strike just kind of works against the best decks the best and is mediocre against like average decks.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really fun way of like balancing a card that's like really good. But if you get met up into a rogue deck, you have a really like certainly your best card that you paid a lot of points for isn't that good, and that's really fun, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Like rumor mill, I remember playing against stuff like Silent Arbiter, playing like the janky
Cybernetics Division.
Yeah, Cybernetics Division deck where like, E-Strike, that's fine. But like Rumor Mill, it just wins the game. Like, that was kind of cringe.
Exactly. Like, Rumor Mill just blanks your killing and now I don't lose. But Employee Strike just gives me one more turn, which might be enough to win the game, but might also mean it doesn't change the outcome if I can't get into the server.
A couple of things that were not on the list that I have been interested to see, like, are we actually looking at those, or are they kind of like stuck on the ban list? Stuff like DLR, like I have never seen people actually play that in Eternal.
Sure. We talked about DLR. I think we talked about a lot of things that we wanted to try at least remove a point from. We tested most of them, and what you don't see in the list is because we weren't very confident on it, or we found something broken really easily. And then obviously we couldn't really. We tried DLR. We think DLR is like still pretty good. If you make it lower on the point list, I think you could like the list gets better. And we didn't think that DLR was particularly fun of a play style that we wanted to encourage it more than it already is. So I think the DLR list is okay. I think it's like subpar compared to like Reg Anarch or some other list. Like Eza does a very similar thing in a more flashy way, and it's probably more fun to play with and against. But I think DLR is like fine, and I would rather not make it like the top choice for Anarchs.
Yeah, sure. Okay, how about crowdfunding then? Why is it still 2 points? It's the most sick card ever to play.
I'll tell you the truth. Crowdfunding at 2 is mostly my fault. The other two both kind of wanted to test it more at 1. The general feeling was that we weren't terribly sure about crowdfunding in 1, and I was adamant on the fact that if you put crowdfunding in 1, it would be almost anywhere. Because the card is really good. It has a lot of things into like many asset matchups. I think the meta developed in a way that we're not in the world where ice doesn't exist and you have to beat op, so everything is asset tech. I think that kind of faded. It was like a couple of years ago. It was very much true that you had to bring a lot of asset tech because IG was everywhere and op. Like crowdfunding was even better then.
Yeah.
But I still stand on the hill that every criminal would play crowdfunding at 1. A lot of Anarchs would consider, if not, would play crowdfunding at 1, and I think it might see play in some shaper lists. And I don't want the card to be ubiquitously as like everywhere as it could be.
Sure, that's fair. I still want it to be looked at every single time, but
yeah. I mean, it is a meme that that people in standard banlist team would talk about unbanning crowdfunding at every meeting. So now we have to kind of take up the meme.
You get to take the mantle of that one.
And we'll think about it more. But I think for now the card is just a little too good to be at one because it would see too much play. I think.
I'll buy that argument.
Okay, I'm happy then. I know you're a big proponent of lowering crowdfunding's points, so.
All right, we go through the banlist here, and next week, me and Brandon are coming back and actually talking about the banlist most people probably want to hear.
Nah.
But like, for people who haven't tested Eternal out, just test it out. It's so sick, and people like if you are wondering about some decks, people are like really like helping people. If you like just post in GLC and ask like, I want to play X, and can somebody help me with it? People are like basically trying to help you too much at some points.
Yeah, 100%.
It's also
like. No, I mean I wouldn't say I've seen people play the format here and there, and I haven't seen anyone come out of Eternal want to play an Eternal game being like, oh, I didn't enjoy that, I'm never playing the format again. I think people played a side event in Pittsburgh in like pre-built Eternal games, and everybody who I heard or read messages from has said I really like the format. Like I really enjoyed my time playing the format. So like that should be a really clear indicator that the format is fun, and please try it because I think you will enjoy it.
Yeah. Also, if you are like scared about these top decks, I feel like in Eternal is the format most where you can kind of build your own thing and make it really competitive. Maybe not as competitive as some of the like best decks around, but like it probably is the format with the most rogue decks possible.
Yeah,
because we have just
also
so many
like
options.
Yeah, Eternal kind of also functions as somewhat of a like EDH kind of format from people who know MTG, where it is a very self-balancing format where if you think you and your friends would enjoy Eternal, but maybe not like the very top tier of the decks, there's no hurt in like saying, oh, let's play Eternal, but like avoid a few things, or even better, I think I tried a few games in with a couple of people, and I don't have a conclusive data, but if you want to play Eternal with like 5 points or even 3 points, really power down the decks. That makes it not as balanced as we might maybe want to, but it powers down decks enough that you can play pretty much whatever you want, and it doesn't break too much.
All right, that was the No Brandon episode of the podcast. You have any shoutouts at the end?
Mainly, like, I mean, OF15 and Toron, I talked about them earlier, but shout out to the people who helped me come up with the list, and Toron who wrote the article. And like, shout out to the people running the Continentals and Worlds. I heard a few people were trying to make a side event, Eternal side event, work for like the Sundays and stuff. So if you're attending a live event, like a big tournament in the next few months, bring out a few Eternal cards and like think about joining an Eternal event just to have fun on the Sunday.
Yeah, Worlds definitely. I'm judging the Eternal event, I think.
Nice.
So I hope people join there. All right,
I'm looking forward to
that
it.
was us this week, and we will catch everybody next week.
Bye.